No. No.
When did you get there last night?
No, this morning. I caught the 1:30 flight. How are you doing?
From that song?
Did you see my text message?
Don't point it towards me,
No.
the camera will watch.
I'm scared. Right.
No, I'm only
You don't have to wear your masks up here, apparently.
Like better.
brought mine here. I noticed that one. I thought, I wonder if it's yours. Oh, that's the sage oil, because normally...
Come through with the money in the garden bags. Let them know we bout that cake straight out the gate. We independent women, some mistake us for whores. I'm saying, why spend mine when I can spend yours? Disagree? Well, that's you, and I'm sorry. I'ma keep playing these cats out like a tar. High heel shoes, getting love from the dudes, 4 badass chicks from the Moulin Rouge. Hey, sisters, soul sisters, better get that dough, sisters. We drink wine with diamonds in the glass by the case, the meaning of expensive taste. You want an inche, ay, ay. Come on, mocha chocolate. What? Rio Lady Mama. One more time, come on. Mama
so still. I'll wake you tomorrow.
I'd like to warmly welcome you all here to this farewell for Gina. It's great that we can be in this space, this creative space, which was so much Gina, in front of this wonderful river known by the Aboriginal people as Maiwa. I'd like to especially welcome Gina's daughter and her close friends. Thanks, Africa, for being here and for being with us today. I'd like to welcome those who are live linking today, who can't be with us, but can be with us online. I'd like to thank Peter Hegedus and team for filming today. My name is Terry Fitzpatrick. I'm part of the Micah family through St. Mary's in Exile. I was part of the church, which was in this neighbourhood, and now we meet in the TLC building across the road. And I'm delighted to be co-celebrating today with Rhonda, who will be guiding us through some very creative healing rituals, which I'm looking forward to being part of. One of the rituals we always begin with all of our Micah celebrations is a welcome to country. And unfortunately, Maruchi Baramba is running a little bit late, so we're going to do her welcome to country when we finish the opening celebration, which Rhonda is going to run us through. So when Maruchi comes, we will invite her to do welcome to country. Thanks, Rhonda.
In honour of Gina's spiritual belief, we will begin this ceremony by turning this beautiful ground into an even more sacred ground as we bow our heads and thank Mother Earth and the animal kingdom and all that surrounds our presence. Generally, traditionally, and in honouring the shamanic way, we would smudge due to some circumstances unable for us to light the smudge stick as such, as a beautiful substitute. We have sage oil here, of which I would just like to gently come around and provide the opportunity for the smudging process to still take place. We call upon our ancestors, relations, friends, families, and the Great Spirit in all things to celebrate Gina's life, to symbolise the presence of the Great Spirit and to honour this sacred ceremony within this now sacred space where we have provided the opportunity for us to gather here together as one. And in doing so, I will now like to also invoke the 4 directions in honour and memory of Gina. The invoking of the 4 directions will be traditionally acknowledged from the Northern Hemisphere as well as the Southern Hemisphere. For each and every one of us is made up of many fragments throughout the world, connecting us all together. Blessed be the East. Bless you. So we were getting our bearings correct. My sincerest apologies. So Terry, would you mind standing beside me and guiding me in regards to that? So we have the East. Bless you all. A little bit of a light-hearted moment during it. Wonderful. With your inclusions, I would like to please invite you to also turn to the direction, probably looking best at Terry.
Do you want to get everyone to stand and do it?
And if you'd like to stand and join, that would be amazing. That would be wonderful. Blessed be the East, where the power lies with the rising sun. It represents vision, inspiration, beginnings and endings, the place where matter and spirit touch, springtime planting and the sprouting of seeds. It is considered the high place, where life and all its workings can be contemplated and where a bigger picture comes into view. Blessed be this union with the gifts of the East and the element of air, symbolised here today with this beautiful feather. Blessed be the South, that deals with the heart, the emotions, the innocence, the trust and childhood. It is where we are able to see the world through a child's eyes and marvel at the beauty and magic of the world. Blessed be this union with the gifts of the south and the element of fire, symbolised here with the use of an incense. And in acknowledgement of our southern hemisphere, blessed be the south with the element of earth, symbolised by the beauty of crystals. West. Blessed be the west. Of the setting sun, it represents the need for us to draw inward and do some introspective work. Blessed be this union, the gifts of the west and the element of water. Blessed be the north. That represents the intellect of mind and the need for cooperation. It is where one learns to think beyond ourself and attain the maturity, the compassion, the love to think of others' needs above our own self, so that we can truly express the human's role of compassion and care for other. This direction helps us to realise the need to give back in honour, acknowledgement and knowing of the impact we have of the future ahead, and to plan accordingly, while opening our minds to understanding the ancient shamanic ways. In honour of the Southern Hemisphere, we bless the north side with the element of fire. And we now all come back to centre and face once again to the east, where we originally began our journey. Spirits of the north, south, east and west from the northern hemisphere, and the spirits of the south, west, north and east, we bow our heads and we thank you for being with us here today. Thank you. We gather here today to celebrate and remember the life of Gina, born on the 15th of June 1970 and parted from our world on the 13th of February this year, for her to be reunited with her heavenly family. Gina leaves behind her beautiful daughter, Africa, and her mother, Nellie, and many dear friends. Nellie and Africa wish for us all to honour Gina, and we all extend our love and support for them both. Gina was known for her warmth, her compassion, and her ability to connect with others. She was a strong-spirited, independent woman. Gina had very strong spiritual connections to all sentient beings, especially through her care for her possums over recent months. Gina valued the place of animals in our world. The deep love shared for Gina was equally returned in her unique way. For some, it was her warm, sincere, and deep hugs that welcomed you into her heart space, reassuring you and helping you to feel ever so cherished. For others, it was her quick wit, her passionate opinions, her desire for social justice and inclusion. Gina was truly many things to many of you. She held a deep love for her daughter, Africa, as well as sharing a special bond with your children and grandchildren through her mermaids, her crystals, her little gifts, and those figurines. Gina brightened the world for many. Her cheer brought smiles to faces and helped lift people's spirits each day. Her bright clothes, colourful figurines, photographs and images filled her workspace and announced her fun-loving, caring and ever so joyful soul. So many here today have had such a connection to Gina and have been blessed with her kindness, her deep love, and her care. This, however, does not ignore the challenges and the struggles that come with all relationships in families and in friendships. For Gina, like all of us, carried her own personal challenges along her journey. She will greatly be missed.
Thank you, Rhonda, for that beautiful celebration. Before we come into honouring and farewelling Gina with our memories and shared memories, Maruti Baramba is with us. She is a traditional owner, an elder of the Turrbal people, a songwoman and a lawwoman, and she's well known to us here at Micah because she's often done a welcome to country for us. So I invite Maruti to come and do welcome. Thank you, Maruti.
That's welcome to Brisbane in the language of the Turrbal people. I just would like to extend our appreciation to the organisers today for asking us to be in this capacity here, and we would also like to express our condolences to all of those who are feeling the loss. I shall now sing the blessing of the gathering, and which is the traditional way we do the welcome to country. Murriena Bisagaria Sai Gabakari Buja Manda Barista Murian Men Manda Barista Murian Men I don't play of love Nin yung anala Manda Barista Murian Men Manda Barista Murian Men Manda Barista Murian Men Manda Barista Murian Men Garin Yanami
Marucci, thank you for that wonderful welcome and just the feeling that it evokes for us as we recognise the traditional owners who've walked this country for thousands of years and who were dispossessed of this land. We come now to share memories of Gina. And we're delighted that Africa, Gina's daughter, has graced us with her presence today and is happy to speak. So thank you, Africa. Yeah.
Gina was my best friend and my mother. She was a strong, constant, reliable, and loving presence in my life. She raised me as her equal, never looking down at me as her child. She made sure that I could be anything I wanted to be on the condition that I was happy. She was the best mother a girl could have asked for. When she died, I thought about all the things we planned in the future. Gina has always wanted someone to give their child her name, and we'd agreed that if I had a girl, her middle name would be Gina. I think many of you here would have had a conversation or 20 with Gina trying to convince you to name your child Gina. After wearing me down, I finally agreed that if I had a daughter, she could have the middle name of Gina. It hurt so much knowing that she won't be here to experience that. I remember telling her once I'd decided, and she cried with joy. It hurts to know that if I become a mum, she won't be here for guidance, and she won't be here to be the world's best grandma. We'd also talked about her being the one to walk me down the aisle if I ever got married. I just want one more day, a day where I get Gina cuddles, which you all know are the best type of cuddles. A day where I could tell her how much I loved her and how grateful I am for everything she did to get me here today. Sorry. Unlike Mum, I'm not spiritual, but Mum, if you are watching us celebrate your life, please know that I love you. I miss you, and part of me understands. I hope you're cuddled up on the world's most comfortable couch in your pajamas, binge watching one of our favourite shows. Thank you.
Africa, thank you for coming today. It means a lot to all of us to hear you speak, and we are with you. Our next speaker is Gina's former boss before she came to Micah, and we're delighted that the Honourable Kevin Rudd, Companion of the Order of Australia and the 26th Prime Minister of Australia, or as Gina officially called him, KR, can be with us today. Thanks, Kevin.
Africa. You're among friends, and so many of them. The dimensions of the love in this room today reflect in small measure the dimensions of the love we've received from your mum, Gina, over so many years. The Gina we know and love was and remains a rebellious spirit. So rebellious she was uncontrollable. And I used to be Prime Minister of this country. Uncontrollable, unrelenting, and unconditional in the love that she extended to people anywhere in need. I spoke to one person this morning who came to our office so long ago, not knowing where to go. And there, the eternal Earth Mother of us all, Gina Tilley, wrapped this man in her embrace and navigated with him his way forward. That's Gina. The Gina that we loved and continue to love, and who occupies an extraordinary place in the hearts of us all here today. You know something? The Gina that I know would be absolutely chuffed that you're all here. Absolutely chuffed. She would have said to herself, I'm undeserving of that. And what we say to Gina and the eternal spirit that she represents is that, Gina, you are comprehensively deserving of that. I asked Fleur, who many of you know, who has worked for me since the beginning of the Mesolithic period. Gina came just after. To reflect a little on Gina's time with us. Fleur tells me that she sent Gina a questionnaire a year ago on her experiences working with us. Why Fleur did that, I have no idea. We can ask that of her later on. Question number 1. Time working with KR, whom she called, that was my name. 9.5 years, or more precisely, 66.5 dog years in the Rudd electoral office. Your favourite KR quote, fair shake of the sauce bottle, mate. What is the one thing you learnt working for Kevin that you have taken into your new career with Micah? Answer, quote, the diary is always fluid, unquote. Your proudest moment? Being a staffer when Kevin delivered the national apology to the stolen generations. And secondly, when I appointed her as my women's policy advisor. Her hashtag at the time was feministasfuck. Does that sound authentically Gina to you? Certainly sounds authentically Gina to me. That's our Gina. What are you grateful for, Gina? The opportunities I was given to grow and the myriad skills I acquired along the way. I started as a PA and constituent officer out of uni, 10 years out of work and a single mum. That's when Gina came to work with us. I'm grateful for the flexibility I was given to parent and work. AF grew up in that office. She grew up actually with my son Marcus, who brings his greetings today as well, playing with Duplo underneath the desks at the old post office in Wynnum Road, Morningside. Therese also, AF, sends her warmest regards today. She's with us very much in spirit and currently marooned in a flooded northern Sunshine Coast, unable to get here. Gina was there for every mobile office, every Griffith Australia Day Awards, every branch meeting of the Labor Party, never mind the never-ending mail-outs. The friendships that she made. And on top of that, the things she imparted to each of us. And these were part of the list as well. Gina Tilley taught me using swear words I never knew existed before. Like seriously, there's stuff right out there at the perimeters of the English language and beyond, which our Gina brought in to the mainstream. So if any of you have seen my swearing video, that's Gina's fault. It's not mine. She was also an extraordinary mentor to many young staff members. She always gave each of us a nickname. She had a remarkable passion for animals. And saw us hiding various illegitimate cats and rats under desks during various rental inspections. She always made sure at staff barbecues there were 2 sets of tongs, one for vegetarians and one for non-vegetarians. She was the queen of innuendo. She was fierce, she was fun, she was loyal. Fleur tells the story that once Fleur came for her annual staff review. And Fleur says, when, after me closing the door, Gina said, "Nothing to report, all's good, but you can't leave the office for at least 5 to 10 minutes, or people will think that I'm playing favourites," unquote. So we, that's Fleur and Gina, sat and reviewed the latest red carpet looks from some award ceremony somewhere for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I went back to my desk. Such was Gina's rigour. She was a genuine Earth Mother to us all. Gina was a remarkable spirit, deeply feminist, deeply irreverent about anything and everybody. In that sense, wonderfully prophetic. And with a deep and abiding solidarity with our LGBTQI community. I remember this is her big contribution to public policy. I was Foreign Minister of Australia at the time. And she, together with various other progressive members of my staff, knew that from time to time I could be a serious conservative fuddy-duddy. Oh, I'm from Nambour. And so, as Foreign Minister, you're responsible for issuing the nation's passports, among other things. Gina and Patrick Gorman and Patrick's now wife and a fellow staff member at the time, Jessica Bukowski, and various of my foreign ministerial staff in Canberra conspired that Australia was going to produce the first gender-neutral passports in the world. And so, between them, with Gina at the head of the pack, they organised this with the Department of Foreign Affairs and various progressive forces within it. And then, if you're the Minister of Foreign Affairs, every day you're given this bundle of ministerial submissions to sign, all carefully reviewed by your Chief of Staff. And they know the days when you're absolutely buggered and will sign anything that's put in front of you. But normally I would at least read the first line. So read the first line, sign, sign, sign. This one was number 28 in the pile, and I signed it without reading it. And so began this particular reform in Australian passports law. The first I knew of my reforming zeal was the next day someone showed me online the splash in the Sydney Star Observer. As you know, it's the big gay newspaper in the south. Rudd leads the way in gender-neutral passport reform. That's our Gina. So I called the staff in solemnly, and they all pointed the finger, this was in my office in Canberra, north, to the North Star. That was where Gina was, laughing, chuckling, and smiling all the way through. To conclude, I also spoke with my daughter Jess, who's here with us today. And I asked for Jess's reflections on the Gina we know and love. Jess writes, Gina was a unicorn, a colourful, vivacious, irreverent, hilarious, giant-hearted being with a technicoloured mane. She made us laugh, usually at ourselves. When she loved you, as she did many of you, I would say most of you, she loved you with her everything. She was an empath, an earth mother, but the proudest mother of one, Africa. Africa, you were your mum's sun and moon. She treasured you. She raved about you. Her whole face sparkled when she talked to me about you. So Africa, thank you for sharing Gina with the rest of us. She was precious. And she would be prouder still to see you today, a strong and powerful woman to fill Gina's shoes. We honour the life and continuing spirit of our Gina.
Kevin, thank you for that very fine and worthy tribute to Gina. A Gina we have come to love and who loved us. So thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Alistair Jordan, friend and former work colleague, and Gina officially called him AJ. So thanks, Alistair. Oh, here we are.
Thanks very much, Terry. AJ was the most polite thing she's ever called me over 20 years, and it all goes downhill from there. She never called me Alison. But thank you, Terry, Rhonda, and to Karen at Micah for having us all here today. At the outset, I do want to pass on my condolences to Af. Af, we love you. Everyone in this room loves you. And you need to know that. And to Callum, thank you so much for being here for Af. That means the world to a lot of us who can't be there every day for Af. And we really appreciate it. Thanks, Callum. I want to say to Nellie and Gina's family, we are so sorry for your loss. I also want to acknowledge Gina's closest friends way back from high school, Laura, Cherie and Tony. I mean, talk about close friends. Those three and Gina all have identical tattoos. I mean, that's real friendship, right? I wasn't going to get a tattoo for Gina. And thank you to everybody for coming here today. I mean, this is packed. I mean, what an amazing amount of friends and family and supporters that Gina had. Thank you so much for being here. It was really hard not to jump at the opportunity to say a few words about our friend Gina. And what I say today is, I hopefully on behalf of many of us, not just myself. And it's a cliche to say that Gina was 1 in a million, but actually the maths does work out. I definitely challenge you to consider how many people in your life you will meet like our Gina. It definitely won't be many. And if it is many, you might have a problem or a battle on your hands. I could only deal with one Gina, I promise you. But that's why we're all here today. As we were trying to comprehend the news last week of Gina's death, I noticed my wife Corrie having a text exchange with Gina's great friend Fleur, and they were talking about the wonderful human being we'd just lost. And we've all had those conversations over the past week. But really, something interesting took my eye as I was having a sneak peek over Corrie's shoulder when she was, on the phone bashing out text messages. And they were describing Gina as fierce. In fact, Fleur added some expletives and was describing Gina as fierce as F ... Fierce as fuck, right? Not feminist as fuck on this occasion, but fierce as fuck. And I think there was, for the younger generation, or also those of us who pretend to be the younger generation, a hashtag thrown in there as well, i.e. hashtag fierce as fuck. It's a pretty good summary of Gina, don't you reckon? Fierce as fuck. She was fierce. She was fiercely passionate. Fiercely and independently passionate about what she believed in. When she wanted to advocate something, there was nothing that would get in her way. She'd trample all over you to get her agenda up. She was fiercely tolerant about those around her. She accepted us for what we were. I mean, Gina was pretty out there in some of her beliefs and some of her idiosyncrasies. But she didn't mind those of us who are a bit more vanilla. And that's her words, not mine. I mean, the fact that two middle-aged white guys from the sunny coast are speaking at her memorial today in front of you, that shows just how tolerant Gina was. She was fiercely hardworking. Bloody hell, she was fiercely hardworking. And she had an old-fashioned view that she needed a good job to look after her and Af. And she did a great job. She was fiercely honest. Actually, she was fiercely brutal. Maybe brutally honest, even. I had this thing as she'd text me or email me over the years. If I didn't get back to her within her defined time limit, she'd ring me and give me an earful for not getting back to her. I don't know how subjective that time limit was, but she decided and I just followed suit. She was fiercely funny, and we all know that. I mean, at one point she memorised every word of the UK series of The Office and repeated it verbatim for the next 12 years. She couldn't master Ricky Gervais's accent, but bloody hell she tried. She was fiercely loyal. You know, when you came onto Gina's team, you never left it. All of you never left it. And she had a little thing with each of us. She had a little nickname with each of us. I've found a few of them this week as people come out of the woodwork and reveal their Gina nickname for them. Our friend Patrick Gorman said in Parliament the other night that his nickname for 10 years was Poss. I'm assuming for possum, I have no idea. I'm trying to join the dots. For Fleur, as I found out last night, it was Flirt. Okay, that's fine, and good luck to you, Fleur. For 20 years, Gina called me Muff. And it didn't matter what context, right? I was the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff for several years. I've been CEO of businesses. But it didn't matter the context, she'd call me Muff or Muffy. And not because of an earmuff. She called me Muff because of the female vagina. Or I guess in many respects you could just say the vagina. And I had to live with that. Now I'm trying to say more nice things about Gina. But I've got that off my chest, so it's very therapeutic. But she was fiercely loving as well. And I know, Kevin, you've said it today, and we'll say it more, but she was fiercely loving of you, and you were the best thing in her life. It's the one thing, you were the one thing that got her up every morning, and the one thing that she loved more than anything else in the world. For some of us in the room today, Gina entered into our world about 20 years ago, and she was in her early 30s, supporting AF through primary school. And Gina just wanted to get some work experience. As Kevin said, she'd struggled to land a decent job for quite a few years, and she just wanted work experience and eventually a good written reference so she could land a decent job with decent pay. And it wasn't a big ask. And my boss was Kevin at the time, and there was plenty to do. And I was managing the budget, and she offered to do it for free. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. I signed her up immediately, and she took to our office like a duck to water. There were, without exaggeration, about 1,000 things to get done each day, and she'd methodically work her way through each of them. She had a beautiful way with our constituents, particularly the older constituents, who'd call in with their problems and their challenges. Many of them called her Jeeba, something I encouraged over the years. She was not so tolerant of that, but she'd do her job really well. She also knew when to call a spade and call someone out for taking a mickey. As you know, she'd never take a step backward. What she didn't know, she dedicated to learning it and mastering it. In short, she quickly became indispensable to our cause. And while we were working in the trenches, churning out the work, everything was a bit easier because working with Gina was like working with a friend. And I'm sure our friends at Micah would feel the same way. With Gina, you were in it together. You laughed together, you got annoyed together, you got annoyed at each other, but you loved doing it. And you loved working with her. And it goes without saying that after a few months of work experience, we employed Gina full-time, and she never took a step backwards. She went from work experience to working for the Prime Minister. And it was all because of her. She didn't get a free ride. She earned her place there. That fierceness. But despite Gina's success at work, she always remained true to herself. I asked her so many times to move to Canberra and work in the Prime Minister's office down there. She didn't want further promotion, even though she had a raft of great options. She wanted to stay right here with AF, with her family, with her friends, and be true to herself. And I really admired that about her. Gina was fierce, but she was also human. Over the years, she had ups, she had downs, and she had extreme downs. The long, drawn-out downs were truly heartbreaking. It's hard to know what Gina was experiencing during those crippling times. I know many of you in this room today tried over the years to help her, and that should give us a lot of comfort. She always had an amazing army of support. Brilliant people who loved her, and I know she knew you were always there for her. We should take comfort from today and from the events of the past week in knowing that we were always there for Gina. We're all still coming to terms with Gina's passing. She's gone far too soon and left us to face the world without her in our lives. And it is hard to process on so many levels. For a change, I've tried rationalising it as opposed to internalising my problems, which works so well. So here it goes for Gina. She had a profound impact on so many of us and gave us memories of friendship that we will cherish forever. She raised an amazing human being. And she leaves behind a support network for you that will also be here forever. And she did all of this all of this while battling significant mental health challenges over decades, which were so very hard to overcome. But rather than be distraught or sad, I've chosen to adopt the emotion of pride. I'm deeply proud of being Gina's friend, and we should all be deeply proud of having the opportunity of being Gina's friend. And in the years to come, that's how I think we should remember our time with Gina. Our friend, our fierce friend, Gina. Thank you.
Alistair, thank you for that very fine tribute to Gina, our friend, and for naming so much for us which resonated with us, both the laughs and the downs. So thank you, Alistair. I'm going to hand you back to Rhonda as she continues to lead us in another celebration.
I have here before me a message that has been written by Gina's mum, Nellie, expressing her own sincere words as a mother. These are the words from Nellie. Gina, you shattered my world on Sunday 13th. I was supposed to drop off the planet before you. You were one hell of a daughter, loving, extremely kind, generous, compassionate, honest, intelligent, just multi-talented. You were the love of my life, but you battled with your own mental illness. I was the richer for having you as my daughter. Despite my dislike of tattoos, you're an exceptional mother to your beautiful Africa. You idolised her. Hopefully you are at ease, my very special, precious angel. I loved and adored you unconditionally and was so proud of all of your life's achievements. Your ever-loving mum, Nellie. I just want to take a moment here and just thank all of those who spoke on behalf of Gina's attributes that she brought in so many ways. Especially want to thank Africa and Nellie for the courage and the strength to share their deep, heartfelt experience through words. You have all, in some way, celebrated many milestones of Gina's life, right now to the loss. Yet, we wish for you to witness it as the circle of life of the very much loved Gina. When you first lose someone that you love, your grief can feel like an unstoppable force. Even after the raw ache, it fades. And the odd trigger of an anniversary or a birthday, a fragrance, a movie, an uncanny resemblance can bring it surging back into your life even years later. And those memories just flourish through. Possibly painful memories, joyful, sad, whatever they may be, they come surging through. Everyone who grieves copes with this in their own way. However, as we are all here honouring Gina's spiritual learnings and her journey, we will now hold a meditation so that that meditation can ease the stress, can ease those distressing thoughts, and hopefully start to place a perspective and hopefully start to place an understanding of the process, and most of all, hopefully, place a way for you all to reconnect with Gina. So I'd like you now, and please feel free if you wish to close your eyes or not, it is all for you. As you sit there, to take a moment and take a breath. I ask of you to please note what you are feeling. Recognize the feelings. They may be heavy. They may be painful. There is grief for sure. There may be anger, turmoil, confusion. Whatever it is for you. Allow this breath to go deeply into your body and feel it, acknowledge it. Please honour each part of your being. Please honour what you are feeling, what you are experiencing. Breathe in that presence of the now. And please don't forget to breathe it out. Breathe out and release. Release whatever it is that you may be feeling, be it the ache, the pain, the turmoil, whatever it is. Breathe it out, release. And now I invite you to take another breath in. Let this breath that you draw in to every cell in your body, let it be a breath of acceptance and a breath of understanding, a breath of unconditional love. Hold that breath deep. Hold it deeply in your thoughts, in your feelings, in your body. And breathe out. At your own pace and in your own way, allow the breathing in and the breathing out to continue. The breath in, the release as you breathe out. And for now, I invite you to breathe in, to come back to a natural pace, a natural state, and hopefully a natural way of being, of accepting, and being able to come to a state of understanding and acceptance. As part of the ongoing ceremony and part of this meditation, you have all been gifted with a tea-light candle. I would like to please invite you, as I light the candle up here at the altar, for you all to please light your candle. And I'd like to invite Africa and Callum to begin the next part of this ritual in honouring Gina. And if we can begin with Africa and Callum, please, and place the candles up in honour of Gina on the table here. If we can begin over on the table here. And then Terry. Yes, yeah. And to begin with this side. And to please note that there is rosemary in a bowl there. Please help yourself to a sprig of rosemary and take that back with you to your seat, holding it deep in your heart, and sit with it, honouring Gina, and most of all, passing on your blessings to the loved one that has left us, and passing on the blessings to her beautiful daughter, Africa, her mother, Nellie, and to each and every one of her dear friends and yourselves, of course, all of you here today, and those who were unable to attend with us but are present in spirit. I invite you now, Africa and Callum.
There was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. You don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Well, your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty in the moonlight. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and cut your hair, and from your lips she drew hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Seen this room and I've walked the floor. Used to live alone before I knew ya. But I've seen your flag on the marble arch. Our love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, hallelujah. Maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who outdrew ya. It's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not someone who's seen the light. It's a cold and broken hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. sacred chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. You don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Well, your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty in the moonlight overthrew ya. Well, she tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and cut your hair, and from your lips she drew hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Baby, I've been here before. I've seen this room and I've walked the floor. Used to live alone before I knew ya. But I've seen your flag on the marble arch. Our love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. Maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who outdrew ya. It's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not someone who's seen the light. It's a cold and broken hallelujah.
Thank you for the beautiful way you all so movingly came up and paid tribute to Gina. When Gina left Kevin's office, she came to us, and we were very fortunate that Gina came to us. She didn't go to Canberra, she came to Micah, and we're forever grateful. And Karen is going to celebrate Gina for Micah. Thanks, Karen.
When we heard the news of Gina's death, we were, as you would be expected, in shock, as you all were, and a shock that is slowly dissipating as the reality sinks in. I wrote a few words on our SharePoint that I'm going to share today. Many of the things and tributes that others have said are also our tributes and our memories. We're glad, Kevin, you introduced us. We weren't as powerful as the Prime Minister's office, but we tried to be. And with Gina guiding us to some of those little tricks of how to get the message through, we've always been enormously privileged to have her amongst us. As we come to terms from Gina not being there in our day-to-day routine, as a professional, a colleague, a friend, mentor, confidant, we remember Gina for the welcoming, fun, considerate presence and sensitivity that she often brought to our workplace. Gina has been a member of our staff for 9 years, almost 10, halfway there. I only recently said to her about we'll have to have a 10-year celebration. But in that time, she has nurtured and created many unique relationships with so many of you in the room today. Staff, our families, our participants, our external stakeholders, all of whom will miss her greatly, and many of whom have contacted us with flowers and condolences and thoughts for you to Africa. Many of us will be grateful for the person that Gina was to our children, our grandchildren, including mine, Hannah and Ted, and other children who would visit us and who would beam with excitement at spending time with her, each with their own unique and diverse view of the world through Gina's eyes, hugs, or the magical children's drawer or box of crystals, mermaids, chocolates, that awaited them, and of course of their photos. Bridget's children are here with us today, Kenzie and Lockie and Archie. Sorry, Archie. And we're so glad that you could. Like all, Gina had her blind spots and differences of opinion, and that may have left an imprint that was in contrast to the hugs and welcome, particularly maybe if you're a white male. All these things made Gina who she was, an amazing, perceptive advocate for reducing the stigma of mental illness, looking out for others and ensuring that a nurturing circle was in place for those times when the world looked bleak, including for herself. Many of you were and are in that circle. Gina also was a strong voice for self-determination, especially about the decisions that she believed were simply for any one individual to make and have control of, or collectively for us as a society to give self-determination to Indigenous, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, the GBLT community, women especially, but she had a passion for the stigma against mental illness. And she believed fiercely about all our rights within the systems that impact us. Every one of you would have had a unique relationship with Gina, and whilst her loss is with us, her spirit of community is so evident here with us today, as we as a people take care of each other, and it's also evident in our sadness. Gina would be proud of that. Gina has left us all with so many photos of our work, our journey as an organisation, but most importantly of our relationships. The death of anyone we love brings memories of us to the death of others we love. So it is a time to care and be that nurturing circle for each other. I have been asked to mention a gratitude of some of our participants who had a special and unique relationship with Gina, not just at Micah, but as Kevin alluded to, Brian and Forgotten Australians who met Gina at her office, and then when they came to Micah and found her at our office, they were really revving up their desire for change, and they will miss her very much. Brian from the British Child Migrants, Alan, Mary, Dee, Lee, many others who have worked with us, and they will always be indebted to the work that was done by your government about Forgotten Australian reports and apologies and inquiries. They will hold Gina close to their strong voice for change into the future. As we conclude our time in this space, Africa from all of us, our thoughts and support will continue to be there each day through your personal grief and loss as you continue to move. Don't forget we're here. Also, I would like to thank Rhonda and Terry for leading us through this space, Bridget for the coordination of all the venue and messaging to you all here, our communications team, Liddy and Rob, for the booklets and bookmark, Magella and all the staff who yesterday tied the ribbons and the rosemary and have created this space today. I personally am so glad that Gina was in my life. She gave me lots of strength and lots of insight. She was a confidant, and she was a person who really respected all of us. And mostly she wanted us to be an us. So we have some butterflies that after Terry does. This was a request that some Forgotten Australians suggested, and the Bridge and her children and Liddy and others whose children were close to Gina are going to release them. But thank you all so much for coming, and please stay around when we conclude for lunch.
Karen, thank you for speaking on our behalf at Micah, and we resonate with those words, especially that we commit ourselves to look out for one another and to be for one another. All at Micah and beyond are familiar with the bell ceremony, which we're going to finish with, or after the butterflies. We're going to take a moment. It's a cross-cultural celebration, the ringing of the bells, and particularly ringing them 3 times. In the Christian tradition, the ringing of the bell, in the small villages, everyone stops, and there's a sense of paying respect to those who've lost. In the Buddhist tradition, the bell is a recognition of the impermanence of life. We come from the silence, and to the silence we return. And it's in the silence that we are one with all. We are one particularly with Gina today. And so let us come into that silence, listen to the ringing of the bell, knowing that as it rings, it's going to fade, as all form does. And then it happens again, knowing that life regenerates. So let's just pause, maybe close your eyes for a moment, just get in touch with your breath. The sounds of the traffic, the stillness of your breath. And so, Gina, though we need to weep your loss today, we know that you dwell in that safe place in our hearts where no storm or night or pain can reach you. We look towards each other no longer from the old distance of our names, for now you dwell inside the rhythm of breath, as close to us as we are to ourselves. And though we cannot see you with outward eyes, we know our soul's gaze is upon your face, smiling back at us from within everything to which we give our best refinement. And so, Gina, may you continue to inspire us to enter each day with a generous heart, to serve the call of courage and love, and until we see your beautiful face again in that land where there is no more separation, where all tears will be wiped from our mind, and where we will never lose you again. Before we come to our final song, as Karen mentioned, the Forgotten Australians, an important ritual is the releasing of the butterflies, a symbol of change, rebirth, transformation and healing, and of hope, representing new journeys, freedom, love and new life, the triumph of spirit over the physical. As we listen to our final song, just a reminder that there are signing books here. We love you to sign something, and these books will be presented to Africa after the service.
And so now, our sacred space, the circle that we've all held here together, has come to a time for us to close it, where we move on, carry within our hearts the memories of today, shared by us all in various ways. Blessings to you all. The circle is now closed, and we invite you all to please exchange each other with some love, enjoy a feast, and I wish you a very filling day where in your heart there will be the space for kindness, expression of kindness, expression of love, and the expression of understanding and acceptance of all that is. Because as we say in our realm of this world, it is as it is, and all is written. Maktub. Blessings to you all.
Boats and waterfalls, alleyways and payphone calls.
Yes, I